This video is a response to the Common Sense Skeptic's call to action to nominate Mark Tarpenny and Martin Eberhard to the CEO and board positions at Tesla respectively. First off, I would like to state, once again, guys, great video. While I do like the tactics and sense of poetic justice, having one of the world's most autocratic a-holes defeated by democracy, I would like to offer a counter-argument. Not the how of the plan, the method seems pretty solid. It's a high-stakes bet, but given what Musk is doing to unions, some pension funds at the minimum would probably be willing to take this idea seriously. That alone should be enough to get 3% of the votes. Even if you don't get 50%, at the minimum, this would humiliate Musk. So I don't have an issue with the mechanics of the plan. I would, however, like to question the strategic value of the plan, basically analyzing two main questions. Can Tesla be saved? And should Tesla be saved? I will start with can Tesla be saved because it's the weaker of the two arguments. Now, I do want to state that I have no issues with the candidate's competence and skills. If anyone can pull this off, it's Mary Barra, but just behind her would be these two. However, cars don't just magically appear. It takes a long time to get a car from the drawing boards to production, and not an inconsiderable amount of money. Time and money, I would argue, Tesla does not have. Right now, the bulk of Tesla's sales come from the Models 3 and Y, two cars that, presumably, just got very expensive facelifts. The good news is, as outlined in my video Trouble at Tesla, both vehicles will get a bump in sales just from having new noses. However, as outlined in my video, the further a vehicle gets from its facelift, the lower the sales, assuming no crazy market forces like COVID-19 or an expanding segment. So the founders would already have a small bump to help them when they take over. However, the models will already have sales starting to slide. With more competent models constantly being added, like the Lucid Gravity and the Mercedes EQA, along with constantly improving current competition, see the Ioniq 5 and Mach-E improvements, those reducing sales will be accelerated. So when the founders get in, they will be up against a ticking clock, which is a serious problem, because that clock may be ticking faster to zero than they can work. According to this video from Forbes, it takes 5 years to go from first sketch to production ready, and everything about the Model 3 and Y suggests to me that a major refresh would be needed for the cars to be competitive again. There are instances of companies being this time frame, but much like falling off a 3-story building, just because others have done it doesn't mean I would recommend it. China claims to regularly get their cars to market in 18 months, but let's see how those age before applying that strategy. GM made the BrightDrop van in a year, but that's a cargo van and doesn't have the same expectations as a consumer car. Ford did make the 2004 GT in 18 months, and Maserati made the Gran Turismo in 9 months. However, some of the mistakes on the Ford GT include rampant reliability issues and a tiny fuel tank because it got overlooked during the design process. Maserati remembered to install a fuel tank in the Gran Turismo, but it was effectively a shortened Quattroporte and the car had other issues besides that, some of which I would argue sprung up because of the time crunch. So let's take the crazy number and assume that the founders get in there and can make a new car in 18 months that has no issues that affect sales. During that time, sales will be dropping and income will drop as a result. Assuming that the 8% per year decline from this quarter is accurate and will continue throughout the near future, that means roughly a 16% drop between now and when the new car comes out. A company losing 16% of its revenue is going to have a hard time paying its bills, especially if the margins for the new models are low or the tooling and design from the last facelift hasn't been paid off yet, both of which I suspect are true for the current Model 3 and Y. So who knows what percent drop would cause the company to financially implode, but I'm guessing it's less than the 35% revenue drop that would be applicable in a more realistic 5-year time frame for developing the new models. Speaking of funds, a lot of them are required to develop a new platform. I remember reading that Hyundai spent $1 billion developing its luxury rear-wheel drive platform almost 20 years ago now, and I'm guessing costs have not gone down since then. So, given the crashing sales and recent spending spree that was the Cybertruck, I honestly don't know if Tesla has the funds to develop a new platform, given how much of the company is probably leveraged and how much Tesla has cut prices on new cars. Even if Tesla ditched its crazy CEO compensation package, They might be in a Solar City pre-bailout situation where they can't afford to keep the doors open, much less develop a competitive edge. That said, there is precedent for a similar situation happening before, where the company was able to turn it around. I could provide detail, but I don't want to disclose it because I don't want to help Musk. If the founders get elected, I will happily post a play-by-play of how I would keep the company afloat if they want the opinion of some random part-time YouTuber. One that Muskrats will probably claim has no idea what they are talking about, and they may have a point. But even a perfect plan would be far from a guarantee, and their execution would need to be perfect. Meaning, saving the company might be possible, but lottery ticket levels of luck would be required in addition to mad skill to pull it off. So let's move past the if and move on to should the company be saved. My hypothesis is that the company is on a timer where it goes under if something doesn't change and might already be past the point of no return. So, should something change? Should Tesla be saved? I will lead off by saying one group that would unquestionably benefit from such a change is the workers. The benefits of getting Musk out of a position of power in their lives and replacing him with the founders would be a huge benefit to the workers, if only by regression to the mean. Given I have worked the kinds of hard jobs these people experience, I can fully support the idea of changing the situation for the better. Also, letting the company go under would be devastating to a lot of workers and some communities. However, even with that benefit, I would say I'm not sure the company should be allowed to go on. Another argument I can imagine is the innovation argument. Basically, the argument would go something like Tesla is one of the few innovators in the automotive industry, and letting them go would cause the industry to stagnate. If it were 2016, this argument might hold some water. However, it's 2025 now, and Tesla is no longer the only name in the innovation game. In fact, thanks to Musk, several groups of engineers, designers, and other skilled parties have left Tesla and founded their own companies. Two examples being Rivian and Lucid. The Lucid Air is what the Gen 2 Model S should have been. With greatly enhanced packaging, the car has a comical amount of storage inside, and the range is on a completely different level to everyone else. To put that into some perspective, the base Lucid Air, the Pure, has more range than the longest range Tesla. As for Rivian, their quad-motor R1T showed Tesla how to make a real off-road BEV pickup, with actually thoughtful features, like an air pump in the bed, the gear tunnel, and a level of off-roading capability that would humiliate a Range Rover. Not get humbled by a Range Rover, unlike some other vehicles I could name. As a result, I would say they're more than capable of carrying the innovation torch. Additionally, it's not as if major legacy auto has been sitting on its hands either in the innovation department. Yes, some have blindly copied Tesla to the detriment of its customers. See the inexplicable proliferation of screen-controlled air vents. But there have been some who have gone their own way to great effect. See GM with their Ultium platform. While the launch went about as well as the typical starships, there's plenty of innovation here. GM Super Cruise is arguably better than Tesla's ADAS capabilities, and the Silverado EV can take objects up to 16 feet long in its bed, as opposed to some other vehicles that can only take items up to 6 feet with an asterisk. GM's Ultium batteries also have a new chemistry, which works to reduce the use of rare elements used in its assembly, which results in a lower price of the batteries. So no, Tesla does not have a monopolization on innovation. Innovation existed before Tesla, and it will be there long after it's gone. The next argument I could imagine would be something along the lines of, okay, the Tesla situation is bad, but it must be better for the founders than starting from scratch. Is it? Yes, Tesla is a well-established brand that does have a huge market cap and some pretty impressive market share. It even has products that are on paper competitive. But I'm not sure Tesla's brand value is all that great. The most charitable reading one could currently have towards the company is that it's polarizing. So a brand starting over from scratch might be better. The company clearly does have sales, and getting appointed to the head of a company with these sales numbers on paper does seem like a huge head start. However, as I outlined, Those sales seem to be declining, and any remedies to fix them are going to take time and money the company might not have. Even if the sales are reversed, the company has a lot of lawsuits and investigations to deal with. A lot of them do seem like quite the legal headache for Tesla, and all of them taken together could be fatal. Even if the company's sales turn around, it might not fix the indictment issues. Sometimes it's best to recognize when the sunk cost fallacy has kicked in, and for Tesla, I believe we are past that point. So, in summation, the founders would have an extremely difficult uphill battle getting the company to a salvageable state. Even if they pull it off, letting the company go under and starting from scratch would be an easier road to take. And letting Tesla go to the big scrapyard in the sky does not harm the industry because Tesla does not provide the industry innovation that they claim they do. If the founders look at this and still want to be nominated for whatever reason, I will happily back them. But tactically, in my opinion, even if Tesla can be saved, I'm not so sure Tesla should be saved. Thank you for watching and your consideration. Now, if you excuse me, I would like to get back to my hobby of theoretical powertrain swaps nobody asked for. This time, I'm ripping the battery pack out of a Gen 1 Tesla Roadster and shoving a fuel cell stack from the Toyota Mirai in its place. Then I'm racing that against the stock Tesla Roadster and a standard Elise from the same era. What? It beats binging Netflix.